and a lot of people are trying to get in on this surge. It's sort of, I talk about wearables as sort of being where we are now with wearables is where the internet was in 1993. So the opportunities are immense. But this is, when I started working on wearables, this is what they look like. Decidedly unstylish. I call the piece on the left when a computer throws up on your vest. And so while we've evolved the technologies and made them smaller and more compact, they've mostly come in forms like this, which are sort of what we think of as fitness wearables, the Fitbit, the Misfit, and I put them in a category that's much closer to devices than to actual fashion. They're useful for sports, they're useful for quantifying the body. But are they really crossing into this sort of genre of fashion and personal expression? And this is the first time Nike Fuel Band was shown in Vogue, and it really sticks out like a sore thumb there. And so the difference between this, I try to talk to around, what is the difference between what's going on in the wearables market coming out of the Silicon Valley ethos, is that we're looking at quantifying the self. We're looking at kind of taking metrics around our body and making them in some way useful or practical to hopefully help our lives. But when you think about fashion, emotion is the killer app, right? You can't quantify the feeling that you get when you see this Alexander McQueen dress in motion. And so there's this disconnect between devices like this and what we feel in fashion and the kind of desire for expression and identity. So while we've moved towards devices being much more beautiful, like the Apple Watch, they still aren't satisfying our basic desire around fashion, which is to really create an identity for yourself. So this is a great article from Vanessa Friedman, the director of the New York Times style section, and she talks about no longer wearing her Apple Watch, not because it's not a good device, but because you just can't identify with it. So this is really about taking on diversified users and diversified identities within our set of wearables. So it's not just made by Silicon Valley for Silicon Valley, but for the entire global market of fashion. So this is a massive opportunity for the fashion industry. So we have moving towards pieces of fashion that technology that are more fashionable. This is Ringling, which I'm wearing right now. This is the notification ring. It connects to an app on my phone, and it can alert me when I get a call or a text. Through vibration or light through a diamond in the side. But the most important thing about this device is that it is completely seamless. You do not know that there's any technology in it. If you see me wearing this ring, you just think it's a beautiful ring. It's a fashion-first device. So there's more and more of these coming on the market. This is a collaboration between Opening Ceremony, which is an innovative New York brand, and Intel, and this is a bracelet, real metals, real skins, real stones, with a small, discrete curved screen on the inside that when it's turned off, you really don't even know there's any technology there. So this is sort of the direction that we're moving, but what's happening is a lot of the stuff is still very limited to in the jewelry area, and a lot of it is wrist-based or ear-based. And we're quite frankly running out of space on the body. This is Rachel Kelmar. She's a data scientist with Misfit Wearables, and she wears this every day along with multiple other devices around her waist. But really this is just to point out, we need to be taking on the rest of the body. So a very strange headline. I've decided I'm going to take back the rest of the body for the fashion industry. The tech industry can keep the wrist. We're going to go everywhere else, and we're going to start thinking about doing technology across the entire body, much like Danit is doing. So this also, for me, has become about talking the language between fashion and technology. So on the left, you see MC10, which is a flexible circuit tattoo. It's stretchable, and it basically uses the same technology as zigzag stitch. Those curved lines in the circuit make it stretchable, which is exactly what we do when we are having knitwear. So Manufacturing New York is the company that I joined to be able to kind of actually make change inside of infrastructure of the New York City fashion industry. And what we are a combined incubator accelerator for new fashion brands and fashion technology startups. We are a manufacturing facility, and we are a technology R&D lab, which I run. We are trying to reawaken America's fashion industry. We're trying to actually help young brands survive and also have sustainability and transparency in the global supply chain. A lot to take on there. I probably don't have to tell you guys this, but when I'm in technology conferences, they don't think that the fashion industry has any money. And it's just not true. We do. We have money. It usually gets spent on different things than R&D. But there's massive opportunity here, and then again, the value of wearables is growing exponentially. Also, this is an important fact for being a local manufacturing in the US, is that we're basically about matched for contemporary brands, so not fast fashion, but mid-range brands. We're within 5% of production costs if you do it domestically versus overseas, and that's a huge thing for small brands because anybody who's tried to manufacture a small collection overseas knows the headaches and inefficiencies of doing that. So we're bringing back the whole manufacturing center to New York City. This is in Brooklyn on the waterfront in Sunset Park. We have this integrated ecosystem of the incubator, product development and test factory, the R&D labs, contract manufacturers, which function as our own businesses vertically integrated inside our center, and then all brought together through an e-commerce B2B sales channel, which allows sort of for more profitable overhead for everyone. And all this running through it is a supply chain transparency and sustainability metrics of the building itself. So it's like it's an experiment of how do we combine all of the fashion industry, creative production, and tech research all into one building. We're under construction right now. These are some renderings from our architects. We're doing a sort of combined studio industrial feel, so we want it to feel highly creative and highly stylish, but also really kind of industrial and work-based. So what is the future of the factory? And what is the future of the design studio combined? We're a public-private partnership. This is really important to have a partnership with the city, and we received $3.5 million from the New York City Economic Development Corporation. We have several different grants and relationships with the federal government, as well as we are in the finals for a $150 million grant from Obama's new Revolutionary Fibers and Textiles Manufacturing Institute, which is bringing high-tech fiber science research back to the U.S. Through innovation relationships between academia and industry. So what I run inside of our center is our Fashion Tech R&D Center. We do research and product development on enabling technologies, processes, and materials. So we're not trying to make more wearable tech devices. We're actually trying to make the stuff to make the stuff. So the materials that Danielle wants to print in a 3D printer, that's what we're trying to work on. It's not as sexy of a kind of venture capital bet, but it is what the industry needs to get us to the next place. And we do this through partnerships and projects between academic labs, trying to get new ideas there out into the mainstream industry, through innovative startups, through large tech corporations like Intel and Google, and through large and small fashion brands. We have 3 interrelated technology labs, the first of them being digital fabrication. So we have things like 3D printers and knitting machines, et cetera, but we're trying to focus on soft materials, smart materials, composite materials in various ways, and different kinds of combining traditional manufacturing. We're not trying to get rid of, there's a lot of processes in fashion that work really well, but how do we start to have new robotic sewing machines, new 3D knitting contexts? So how can we really work with fashion designers directly who often don't have access to these industrial machines and to the technologists who run them to create wholly new models for creativity and production? Other things like sustainable digital printing. This is a line of bathing suits that I like to talk about when we combine things like 3D printing in an idea that I call high-tech true craft. So these bathing suits are partly designed in 3D CAD. Then they are turned into molds. Those molds are 3D printed. Then we do silicone casting, textile inlay into the silicone, and then they're embroidered over with real gemstones. So when you look at these objects, you don't know if they're printed technically or if they're handmade, and that's the point, is to transcend any one technology or technique. Also ideas around how do we actually tie into the digital information age. This is a project that, it's a sample project, but the idea that you can actually have a data visualization algorithm running off of the Google News feed and then running that straight into the knitting machine. Talk about mass customization. It's literally talking about the data of what's happening in the world at exactly the moment that the garment is made. Our other labs include our circuits and wearable electronics, flexible, stretchable, washable circuits that can work with the body in much more cohesive ways, so we're not talking about hard silicone. And then last but certainly not least, biology, chemistry, and biofabrication laboratories working on things like bacterial cellulose leather, which you see in the top right, which is a project from Suzanne Lee at BioCouture. And this is a leather that's highly sustainable. It's a waste product from brewing kombucha tea. I really believe that biology is the next hardware revolution. To get to our next phase of computation, we need to be looking to the biological world, the paradigms of production there, things like using silkworms for what they do best, removing their sort of DNA and being able to do that. In the bottom, you also see things like conductive lattice. We can have all different kinds of technology innovation, circuit innovation through natural biological materials. I often talk about the notion of what can we do about fast fashion. We're not going to remove this idea that people want to have newness in their expression. Like they wanted to print a dress for a special event. We don't want to get rid of that. What we want to do is have appropriate materials. So on the bottom left, that's a 3D printer that works with shrimp chitin coming out of my laboratory at the MIT Media Lab. And it literally dissolves in salt water. So imagine, say, a collection of jewelry for the summer, that at the end of the summer you can just throw it in the ocean and it dissolves. So appropriate forms of materiality. The one on the left, on the right is a circuit that's made out of magnesium. It's still thick. It can actually be embedded in the body and it will dissolve naturally. So it could be, for instance, for drug delivery. So again, this goes back into what are we need to be developing smart fibers and fabrics. Basically, the Jacquard loom was the original computer. For some reason, textile technology split off from computational technology, and they're coming back together in a lot of different nanotech type ways. So on the day that the Apple Watch was released, this is where I was, in a decidedly unsexy basement in Princeton University, working on fiber battery research with Professor Dan Steingart, who's an amazing, runs an amazing electrochemistry lab for energy systems. And these are what you see. There are the two, first there's anode and cathode fibers, which can then be woven together to create a textile that is a battery. So the composite of the battery sits inside the fibers in a nanobond. And if you want to hear more, I can tell you about that later. But this is what I contributed to the project. These engineers, genius engineers, had no idea how to actually turn those fibers into anything. So we got a children's weave out, and we just started to see, let's put it together, let's try to make a weave. And then we took them, down a few miles away to the Shimaseki factory down in New Jersey, and taught them about 3D knitting, and we got a kind of collaboration going to see if we can actually start to knit together a battery. So each of these sections can be considered to have a certain voltage current pattern of a battery. So a whole new way to think about technology. What is the knit pattern that we need to control the amount of current that needs to flow through your device and through your garment? So the point being just that if you start with materials like silicon printed circuit boards, you end up with devices like the Apple Watch, which of course have their place. But if you start with technologies like fiber batteries, you end up with real clothing and real softness. I also believe not all wearable technology involves electronics. One of the companies in our incubator uses Couture, which is re-architecting the high heel from the inside out. I don't know if people realize, but this is what is inside high heels right now. It is literally medieval technology. It's stamped steel. This is incredibly bad for your body. There's no innovation. We do not need to be using this. The founder of Thesis Couture is my partner. I serve as head of technology there. Was working as Elon Musk's head of talent at SpaceX, and she had rocket scientists and astronauts all around her, and she was really fed up with how her shoes were torturing her as she walked around the factory. And so she started to ask, can we make a better shoe? Why are these so uncomfortable? So we started this project 2 years ago. But you see there, that's our astronaut Garrett Reisman, who serves as our sort of design advisor. So these shoes have been